Thank you for taking the time. How's your day going there, Jonah?
It's going well, thank you. I've just been doing a few more media interviews with a few other people, but it's been really good. I've had a good holidays. What about yourself?
Nonstop, but good. We are here in Las Vegas, beautiful Las Vegas,
Ah,
where I think they put you up at Sam's Town when you're in town here.
that's correct. Yeah, Sam's Town.
Yes. Well, I've so much to ask you, including about your Linkin Park shirt. But the first thing is first, your debut in
Oh,
Impact was such a well done surprise. If they do like the best ever surprises in the history of Impact, you'll probably appear on there. How long did you have to keep it a secret for that you were coming to Impact?
it was a little while. I'd been talking to him for quite a bit, and then the main issue was we were waiting on immigration sort of to clear. And then once that was all done, I was sort of set for a turning point. And I think it was fitting that the event was called Turning Point because I feel like myself debuting is a turning point for Impact Wrestling.
Because you're the top dog.
That's correct. The top dog. I want to be the top of that company as well.
Yeah, so I would assume the answer is I want to be world champion, but are there any goals altogether besides that for you in Impact?
I think for me, like 100%, you'd be lying if you didn't want to be world champion in whatever company that you're in. So I have my eyes on Moose and whoever walks out of Hard to Kill as world champion. That's a goal for me. Uh, Obviously, I want to have match of the night with Josh Alexander. I want that to be a statement match to set up for 2022. But there's a lot of other matchups I want to have in Impact Wrestling. One of them being with Moose. I'd like to wrestle Trey Miguel, the X Division champion. And for me, as a fan of wrestling, I really would like to get in there with Rhino.
Hmm. Was your theme song chosen long before your debut? Was it from a library, or did you go, this is what I want my music to sound like? Because I'm the top dog.
So that's completely custom music that New Japan Pro Wrestling had made for me. So they had made that a few weeks earlier, and then I debuted for them in San Jose, and that was where it first played. And then coming into Impact, I'm like, there's no other music I would use because this is perfect for Jonah and the Top Dog.
Cool. And with you coming to Impact, was it the kind of case where you reached out, or you had friends in the locker room and they went, hey, that's the guy to get?
Yeah, I mean, I had friends in the locker room. I think Sammy Callahan was sort of big on telling D'Lo Brown to contact me, and he was the one that got in touch with me. He's part of their talent relations and sort of scouted me and watched some of my stuff and then presented that to the higher ups of Impact, and that's how it all came to be.
Well, you are now officially the most famous Jonah from Australia, but the first Jonah from Australia that I became a fan of was Jonah Takalua. Are you a
Yes,
fan of Jonah Takalua?
100%. I think myself being Australian Samoan, he is another Polynesian guy on TV. Well, Polynesian.
Yes.
And I watched that and I could very much relate to it. And it felt very much similar to stuff that I would do in high school as well. So I was a big fan of those shows that Chris Lilly had.
Yeah, well, going through your social media, you've got great taste. I saw a Gremlins thing pop up a couple days ago. I saw an Auntie Donna thing be there. Big Auntie Donna fans in the Paltrowitz household. So you're a comedy guy, and I see the Linkin Park shirt. You're a music guy, but in the ring, you are tough. Was it always a struggle in a way to have to hide that fun side of yourself?
There's a big difference of me in the ring and then me outside of the ring. When in the ring, I'm all business, and that's when the monster per se is released. And then outside of the ring, I'm big in music, comedy, films as well. I watch a lot of movies, and I'm close friends with Broden from Auntie Donna. So he's a big fan of wrestling actually. So that's how we sort of met, and we speak to each other all the time. And they're funny guys coming out of Australia.
I have one issue with a thing that Broden says, that Broden does not want pizza. He wants Chinese food. Why doesn't he like pizza?
To be honest, I wouldn't know. I'd have to ask him and find that out for you.
But either way, with you having this great taste in art, do you eventually have the acting plans? It seems like half the Impact roster plans on acting long term.
Yeah, I mean, for myself, I'm such a huge wrestling fan. But in high school, I did do a little bit of film work, and I was looking at actually getting into directing and stuff like that. So I wouldn't put it out of the books that eventually I would probably try to get into film as well. But I still have so many ambitions within the wrestling world that I don't think that would be for a little while.
I think you just answered a lot of questions right there. So this is a long-term thing. Wrestling is it.
Yeah.
And what was your earliest wrestling memory? I couldn't figure that one out. I couldn't figure out if you were a Bret Hart guy to start, or with your roots, it was a Yokozuna guy.
Yeah, I mean, I was a huge Yokozuna fan, but I've told people this before in interviews that my earliest memories of life are actually watching wrestling. If crazy enough as it sounds, my uncle who lived with us at the time is a huge wrestling fan. His favorite wrestler was Bret Hart, but I distinctively remember watching WrestleMania 2. It was just a VHS that happened to be on, and it was Hogan and Bundy in the cage. So for some reason, I don't know if it was Hogan that, captured my eye, or the fact that there was a big blue cage, or King Kong Bundy, but that's my earliest memories of life, actually. And then I grew up in the Federation years, so guys like Bret Hart, Yokozuna, Taker, and Shawn Michaels are big influences on me.
Do you remember that weird battle royal in WrestleMania 2 with all the football players?
I do, yes.
All I remember.
The fridge was in there.
The fridge was in there. So one day, will we see a Super Bowl shuffle equivalent from you in any context?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of NFL. I watch it when I can, and I definitely watch the Super Bowl. So who knows? Maybe I'll be the modern day fridge.
Modern day fridge. Wow. Trademark that. Well, 2 quick questions and then you're free. And the first question is Linkin Park your favorite band, or who is your favorite band if not?
I mean, I'm such a fan of music that I listen to pretty much most genres, mainly hip hop, but I listen to like heavy metal and punk music and stuff like that. They're probably not my favorite band, but they're definitely someone like when like Linkin Park were coming out in 2002, I was 14. So it was around that right sort of era of me as a teenager to have some angst and stuff like that. So I always find myself going back listening to them and bands like the Deftones or even Limp Bizkit, who recently put out an album that I've been listening to in the gym.
Dad vibes is great, right?
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
There you go. And the last question I've got for you, we've heard some cool TV shows that you're a fan of already, but do you have a TV recommendation or two for someone who needs a new show to start?
Something that I've recently finished watching. I mean, depending on what you're into, Dave by a rapper Little Dicky, he recently had his season 2 finish, and I loved that show. So if you haven't seen that, go seek that out. But me and my wife recently binge watched all of a show called Wentworth from Australia, which is set in a women's prison. And I think it's 9 seasons or 8 seasons, and that's all available on the American Netflix. So go watch that if you can.
Wow. Well, what I've learned today is you're not only one of my favorite performers to watch in the ring, but your taste is impeccable. So Jonah, thank you for all the greatness, and looking forward to seeing the top dog be the world champion in the near future.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And you'll definitely get to see it.
Paltrocast.